Greetings, everyone. Good afternoon. Monday, July 14th, 2025. Welcome to another great edition of Trading Trends ETF edition. We'll recap the day. Very low volume on SPY, 40%, down 40% from averages for the past month. Of course, a lot of the talk of the town, of course, is Bitcoin new all-time highs. It touched 123K today. Everything in my soul basically still tells me, Christmas week, this thing's going to be trading at 200K is Bitcoin. So we'll get into that and we'll see what, if anything, got hit today. I'll give you a hint. It was just energy, uranium, software, and insurance went higher. Let's share the doc and let's get into it. All right. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I did. Summer's rolling along here. Technically, we're in the midway point if you count Memorial Day to Labor Day. So we're in it. Okay, these folks are celebrating their Bitcoin holdings and uranium blasting off a little bit today. We'll take a look at the charts. They really are sitting on a heap of money here as Bitcoin continues to explode. Today, uranium, software, and insurance trade higher while energy slips 1%. New all-time highs for IBIT and all your Bitcoin proxy ETFs. New all-time highs there. We'll take a look through IBIT. All right, so let us get through the panel here. Give me a sec. Got to own that Bitcoin. Matter of how much. We'll take a look if we get any setups. So the question is always regrettably, it's not enough because the thing just goes up, honestly, double every year. But it's wackadoo. Tesla up 1%. Palantir up 5%. This thing is now up to 149. We'll see if it can really start to firm up that 144. But today, a nice rally for Palantir at 5%. Strategy behind the Bitcoin rise up nearly 4% to 451. Apple, but a dog again, down 120. Although it has made inroads from its absolute depths of the lows, but still an absolute dog. This and Tesla, honestly, are the two of any of the stocks listed here that are dogs that are trading below moving averages. Probably will be Mag 7 catch-up trades. Inevitably, because the market is a roulette wheel where everything's getting allocated dollars, and you want to, respond approprially. But right here, a down day for Apple. What else? IBIT, as we said, 1.4. We'll zoom in on that chart soon. Coinbase up 1.8. All the Bitcoin related stuff up nicely. Hood up 1.6, and Micron gets slapped down 5%. Netflix up 1.3 to nearly $1,260 now, that stock. All right, intraday, as I said, volume was down. We ended up with, what is it here? We have 49 million shares of SPY. We typically have about 72 million shares, so down about 30%ish in that area. So here's the intraday chart. They were bidding it from the gunshot here of the open, and then a little bit of, I would call it, very minor volatility through 10:30. Bid it all the way up. We actually touched 625 at 2:30, and then they sold it off a bit to 624.5. As you can see, a really nice healthy hold of VWAP, especially after 10:30. VWAP ending the day at basically 624. We closed 624.5. Still very nice bullish trading. As I zoom out here, it's crazy. So I put the bearish distribution date beginning right around. It's tough because we're really near highs and making moves almost every day. It seems these candles are still not giving up a lot. We're basically just digesting, off the absolute highs of 627. I'm rounding for simplicity's sake 4 days ago on the 10th. So I've been saying, let's begin. It's hard to absolutely pinpoint it, but I was basically calling for around the 25th of July. I was doing some work on it, this weekend. It's still, somewhere around the 25th of July, which is, last I checked, the end of next week. I would see SPY resting and consolidating, digesting back to about that 612, 613 mark. It just looks absolutely healthy for me. You'd still be holding a very rich RSI, probably in the hood of, honestly, 60. This market just been absolutely supercharged since April 24th after it's carved out that low. But this looks like it does want to take a little bit of a rest towards 613. I would look for that towards the end of next week. Probably be like Europe tariff headlines, like what kind of spoofed the market last night, and still we were resilient. That's what I'm saying. I would just assume a consolidation at some point, but the market is very, very bullish. So just be careful chasing positions. We'll take a look at some movers today and see if there's any setups. But again, like I said, towards the end of the month, the next about 2.5 weeks or so, I see the market trading down, as I said, to about 612, or a reduction of $12 is from here. I mean, exactly. I'm not seeing a major consolidation. Tops about 2% over the next 2 weeks, about shedding 1% a week, and that'll be your invitation to getting into this bull market. A lot of folks saying it's way too expensive, not paying 612, a level that the S&P has been trying to hold basically since December. Well, guess what? I think this is the new floor, and this is definitely renewed bullish, invigorated trading since mid to late April here, after carving out those lows, which an astounding 482 on April 7th, just 3 months ago. All right, let's get into the doc here. There were some movers. Were there ever? Let's help each other out and get some setups. We're in a bull market, but I do want to, again, especially in the next 2 weeks, I would just be careful picking your spots. We've been bullish. I said I'm looking at my note here. I said really pound the table around June 23rd. I'm not going to give myself the bottom tick. That was June 23rd. No way, no hey. I would say even on the gap up, I said really start to prepare to buy here on that June 24th. And we were VWAP that day was 606. So, yeah. So you caught the nice 18 points here. I'll just be careful in terms of risk reward. Final thing on this. With the FOMO and the chasing, you could get as high as, it sounds crazy, but you can get to like a 630, another percent higher, 1.5% higher, just to me. So that's, again, 6 points maybe upside, but down 12. So 1 to 2 risk reward. I don't love those chances. But again, the momentum is to the upside. Let's take a look at some names that moved today and perhaps their setups. Here we go. Big day in the following. Uranium up 4%. We're at a final close of 3.9%. A huge candle. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago when it hit 52-week highs at $39. Okay, very nice overbought. This thing was overbought from May 9th all the way through June 27th. So over a month and a half of being overbought. You have to wait to pick your spots in uranium. This really, so look at the chart. The perfect entry would have been right around 36.5. And here's my my cursor here. Here is 36.5 for you guys. It was basically the floor, essentially, going back from this gap up on June 16th. Would have been a great entry, and you had the chance the last couple of days. I was saying here, this is going to firm up right around 36.70 or so, with a target of 40 to 40.5. And again, the 42-week high is 39.30. I think this is headed to new 52-week highs. Today, I think was the start of it, this 4% rally. I do think we get overbought again. I want to see how it reclaims that. We're seeing the stochastic momentum index just stabilize a little bit, but this thing has been on absolute fire since early May after it held the 200-day moving average. A lot of technical reasons to own uranium as of May 12th, when it was at 27.5, and now here we are at 39. It did a lot in one day. I do think this has a nice bullish 2 weeks though, towards about 40 to 40.5. So that is uranium. So like this one. So again, major beta, like the S&P. Be careful picking your spots. Looks like it's going to come off a little bit. Uranium right here looks good. It did a lot of it today, but I do see more upside and bullishness for the next 2 weeks or so. So they gobbled up uranium today, up 4%. They also gobbled up software. The Qs were up 35 bips. Tech software through IGV was up 1 2/3%. These guys hit highs, although bearish divergence here. You never even got overbought in the RSI, but the highs were here at 111.16, or I'm sorry, 111.61 on July the 3rd, and a quick fall to about 107. And today, a nice move up, nearly 2% for software. So again, this is a lot of beta like in the market. It was nice to see it hold and they stepped in, but I don't like this space for just ramp up for the next 2 weeks. I think this will hold right around this 108 level, but I would not be shocked if this dips down to about that 105. I personally don't want to chase it here. Later, into next month, I do think this gets back to that 112 new highs level. Honestly, yeah, sometime in mid-August, I would think. But of course, this market's been ramping quicker. Again, just another highlight of software here. Above 50 RSI trading, representing a lot of the absolute best of the market since April 23rd. Really, they stepped into this rotation here, and just a beautiful, beautiful rally since late April in software. Today, they gobbled up 1 2/3%. Another area they scooped up was insurance, up 1.5%. That is a multiple standard deviation move for insurance. Not a huge mover. These guys, as the beta has really picked up, insurance, a lower risk, segment. subsector, and obviously a group that gets paid annually through premiums. These guys peaked Thanksgiving week at 62.5, and then they got tested here with the U.S. SPY 52-week lows in early April. It's really been having a rough time, and it really kind of collapsed last week. Now several consecutive closes under the 200 moving average. Today the buyer stepped in up 1.5. Now what? Back of my head, as I see beta coming down, or just at least consolidating over the next 2 weeks, this could be a good area to step into. I like the support this has at 56.30. So I'm not saying that, it's going to be the absolute what you saw, a few days ago. The low is 56.74. I think it could give and take a little bit more. If you see markets rip, they will probably dump this a bit, but I do think potentially it's still a good name. It has shown some ugly signs here from this fall off, so I want to monitor it. It does have a rising 200 moving average, kind of mixed signals here. As you can see here, emblematic here, look at the 50 RSI. It's been above it as high as 61 and then as low as formerly 43, and then it really just collapsed to 40. So I don't love what I'm seeing in terms of momentum. It's because the market is ripping, so they really want to buy travelers and things like that at this time. I do think the space is right around 56 to 56.5. I think it'll be a decent pickup there, because from then, I do think it'll have a nice 2-week rally to about 58 to maybe 58.5. It's really tight resistance at the 200 moving average and higher moving averages. So there's a lot of business, if you will, to be conducted for insurance at 58.5. So a tighter trade. Perhaps there's more alpha going into the single names like a Travelers, and so on, or Marsh, so on and so forth. But right here, that's a play on insurance. Probably have a nice 2 weeks here. Losers, only one space today, got kicked down. It wasn't even massive, but they did not get bought up today, and it was the energy sector, down 1.1% today. We were saying this before. So again, the 200 moving average really has been too much. It really showed big signs mid-June, and then a collapse, and now it's trying it again. Overall, largely above 50 RSI trading since early June, but it's got more work to do. Energy, I think, will have a decent, maybe up to a week. This fall off today was a little bit surprising. I do think it still tries to move towards, about 90.5 by the end of the week into early next week. I do see a little bit of bullishness for energy. Kind of surprising what happened today. Again, the 200-day moving average, zooming out, is 88.10. You're at it right here today within a dime, okay? So right here, energy is where basically the market has had consensus of what the value of the energy sector, ExxonMobil, Chevron, et cetera, for the past 10 months or so. So this is stasis right here. I think it has a nice small, like I said, about a $2 move up, which is about a 2% or so. So I think this goes up from here, and then a lot more nothing after that. Okay, if you have a ticker or something, drop it in there. We'll take a look-see. Let's go. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. Let's talk about the gorilla, what's making so many folks some money. I got a message in the chat here. Oh, my Italian trader. Hey, John, can we also go over Palantir? I'm still long, as you should be. We'll take a look at the chart at the end of the show. We opened the show talking about Palantir, trying to make 140 its new floor. Let's see. But first, let's get through the top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. You know what it is. The number 1 best ETF in all the land, which had a new all-time high today. So this thing is hitting its stride today. This is, Shea Gilligan-Alexander today, with a max super max deal. Up 11% in the past 5 days, or an average of 2% a day. Basically did it today almost. You get bullish confirmation. Of course, I want to see it the most overbought, so I'd like to see above 80, 83, but it's still good to see it above 70. You get that confirmation. Registered 72 here. Look at this candle today of 1.4%. It is outside the Bollinger Bands 2 days in a row now. Typically, as that's happened, it happened mid-December, right before the Fed cut. It had a quick fall. It also did it back here in mid-January at the inauguration. It had a quick fall. And that's kind of all I see here. And again, don't forget, IBIT bottomed last August when it was yen again at $28. And here we are at $68. Holy Miss Moly. So here's IBIT, the number 1 gainer of the past week. In terms of setups, I personally wouldn't chase it here. I've been saying always buy Bitcoin just just allocate to it, for goodness sakes. But full valuation for me right now, even with the bullish run, is right around about $66. I personally wouldn't like chase it right here, and that's why we were pounding the table back here when it was around $58, and now it's at 68. My full valuation was about 66. These things have run, and again, this thing's been above 47 RSI, you know, curve fitting basically above around 50, but it's been above 47 RSI since 4 days after the SPY 52-week low. So you can see when they sift out the winners and the losers, best performing asset of all time, although it's got a short, you know, 13-year history, whatever it is, more than that. That they scooped in to buy this thing after just saying for 3 days, April 7th through April 9th. They took those 3 days and they said, you know what? No, this thing does not deserve to live in a $44 handle. They immediately flipped up to 47, and the train has run ever since and hasn't seen 44 ever since that. And now it's a 68. So that's IBIT. The best week of all ETFs, up 11%. Congrats if you're holding and a holder. I am, and you should too. The second best place to be, the Jets airline. Obviously, we saw airlines really move last week on some, up guidance from, I think it was United, and, you know, a lot of them traded in tandem. The airlines are up 6% in the past 5 days. So not as much as Bitcoin, obviously, but still a rip-roaring, nice move, more than a percent a day. And today, right in line with its average. So here you can see a really big day of when we were up 7% on July 10th, and now we've had 2 days in a row right in the middle. But today was up, so still nice digestion. You were overbought a few days ago. To me, I love the Jets ETF. When this thing moves, it can really move. Still has amazing flows and relative strength versus SPY. But I personally don't like chasing this one above 24. Gosh, the volatility can really get you moving. Right around 25 even. So I would say, like, because of this rally today, I really don't want to chase it anymore. And just candle just looks like these levels don't want to be revisited right now. And if beta does consolidate, and it kind of confirms with my thesis, I don't think they're going to bid this up, especially if energy, like I said, does continue to go up. You don't want everything to whack-a-mole and everything's dominoes in your theory, everything lines up. But if there's a narrative there and it kind of makes sense, I kind of want to fill it in. I don't like the resistance here as well, above 26. I don't like the risk reward. I think this probably goes to about 23.5 actually over the next 2 weeks or so. Still a nice hold of the 200-day moving average. That's a 23.10. Maybe not even as low as 23.5, maybe like 23.75. And that would be your invitation to get into this this nice moving ETF, which peaked in January at 27. So it's within 10% away of new highs. But I just personally don't like chasing here. I think you get a 23 handle on this sucker in about 2 weeks, and then that's your chance to get in. The Jets, second best place to be in the past 5 days after Bitcoin. So congrats. Totally risk on what I'm saying. Bitcoin, airlines, and the next one, more risk on biotechs. We're actually singing the praises of biotechs, and this is huge. And you're going to have a lot of people talking about this space, and not because of Kennedy and everything he's doing as Treasury Secretary and taking out, I don't know, fluoride out of your cereal or whatever it is these days. But this is rates, I don't want to say rates dependent sector or subsector, but they would benefit from a decrease in rates as they have heavy bar. A lot of them are pre-revenue. In terms of this is a nice rally. This had a easy buy signal. A lot of parts of the market had, we were talking about it on the show around that June 25th time frame. I'm not going to bottom tick and give myself the absolute low. That is unfair. We're really more so in the meat of that week. It was more so around $83. And we were saying you want to purchase with a target of around 87. I don't think it's going to get as high to its 200-day moving average. And look at this. The 200-day moving average is blocked out here, but the 200-day is 88.87. We're essentially there. So what we were saying before, a sector like energy, we're at its 10-month average right now, right here this July. We close at consensus. We close at consensus as well for biotech. The problem for this is the average here, as you can see, has been rolling over. So ask me next month, my consensus is lower. Ask me the month after that, lower, and so on and so forth. I think it still has. It was nice to see this move today in biotech. I think it has a bullish few more days to go, but I personally want to chase it. I think it's going to get maybe a meerkat right to its 200-day, which is the most strength it's showed since basically Valentine's Day. And I think it tags it. Potentially maybe even gets above it, but I don't think so. And then it goes lower. I do like seeing the RSI continue to go higher here. That's nice to see. but there's going to be a reckoning at 88.85, and that's right around 60 cents or 70 bips away. I think it does it, in the next several days, possibly tomorrow, and then gets the chem bait. And then most likely, I would think, goes towards $84. That's where I'm going to want to see that recovery. Does it really stabilize and stay in that 87 handle, or does it more so go in 84? That could really dictate how you want to allocate your dollars going forward in a recovery subsector like biotech. All right. Breathe. Top 3 losers the past 5 days. If you're in these spaces, you have been, what's the word? Owie wowie. Volatility. They really have stepped off the gas. I know today it was up 1.5% on an up day, a new all-time high for Bitcoin, right? But volatility overall down nearly 5% or just shedding 1% per day. Always tough to chart a non-time series like VXX, which is on the short-term futures ETN. But I do think this tries to base right around $44 this week. So possibly goes a little bit lower. I think it bases around at 44. And like I said, as the S&P consolidates over the next 2 weeks or so, I do think this makes a move towards 49. Still not to that 200-day moving average. That's 51 and rising, actually. I'm sorry, just started going down. Like last week. Yeah, so I don't think it's going to go there. And that makes sense because you shouldn't have volatility getting to where its 10-month consensus is with the market breaking out to new all-time highs. So volatility, again, the 52-week low was in February at $41. We're here basically at 46. As I said, this is going to hold, put in a floor at 44. And I do see this rising to $49 or a rally of nearly 10%, a little bit less over the next 2 weeks. Perhaps it started today up 1.5%, but it has been having a nasty week. The worst place to be of all ETFs, down 4.5%, nearly 5%, which is a tie for the same absolute terms move with Brazil. Down 4.7% is Brazil. Today down 80 bips. Brazil really trying hard to carve out a recovery since late April. So again, rotation hard into specific areas of the market, really kind of everywhere globally. But look at this. In the past weeks, things have really fell off. Brazil is trading sub 50 RSI trading now since early April, which is before it had that rally. So you don't want to see that kind of behavior. You're seeing, loser status with, what was winning behavior. I don't like the chart right here. I think it has another bearish week or so to go to base at about 27 even. I want to see where this recovery goes. I think it kind of holds right where my cursor is, about another % or so lower, some zigs and zags. And then I do think this is a place for recovery. You're going to want to look at some EWZ, some Brazilian equities. ITUP comes to mind. But I do think you are seeing a recovery here. I do think, and of course, as a globe is very attractive here, it's not just SPY anymore hitting new highs. You have Vietnam. There's other, obviously, areas of strength in Europe and Israel, Poland, etc. But this 2640 is going to be your new floor. So what used to be, pretty much resistance all the way through early May. I mean, at least from I'm saying in November through May, that's going to be your support now. So good to see. And I think that'll be an opportunity. Look for that after it stabilizes next week. Probably going to be somewhat of a frustrating trade because the bullish move would get to 28. So lots of zigs and zags. You'd have to be really patient until it gets that 29. And then it could start thinking about the 52-week highs from last August at 31. And then another one, this has been coming up on my radar a lot lately. It's been having some moves. The cybersecurity, you saw the big moves from CrowdStrike and last week. It's been popping up here. It hit highs last week. Of course, this space is going to be a major focus for years to come. As you know, we try to guard ourselves from potential threats of fraud and artificial intelligence. This is the chart for cyber. Pretty sure that's new all-time highs. Yep. So that here was 76.30 at July 9th, and you saw ugly bearish divergence. You didn't get above 70, and then what happens? Usually you get a quick fall. Right there, I would have forecast this going from 76 to at least 74, and what it did was actually get to 72. This I don't love right here. This did a lot of a fall here, from $76 to 72 in just a handful of days. I think this has a bearish 2 weeks or so. It zigs and zags though from here before it wants to head towards about $71 to $72. Folks, you're going to think that's it. Throw in the towel on this subsector. Absolutely not the truth. Although it just looks weak in terms of trading. It's going through a challenging time, but you want to give a chart like this absolutely the benefit of the doubt with the flywheel and the narrative that's going with it with the AI story. So I'm not going to throw the bag on this. This thing's going to be hugging 74 soon after it flushes a little bit towards 71 to 72. Today up about 87 bips, but it's been the third worst place to be in the market after Vol and Brazil. So how about that? As we wrap up this part, don't worry, Tony, I'll get to you. Top 3 trades in the past 5 days. If you were long IBIT, the Jets ETF, and biotech, you're absolutely crushing it. All that reads to me is risk on, and when you're done that, more risk on. My buddy from Italia says, "Hey, John, can we also go over Palantir? I am still long," and I immediately said, as you should be. This sucker hit new all-time highs today, 149.57. So let's, if you could put into your into the chat like time frame, I think you're in shares and whatnot, but let me know if you have an options trade that expires or something. So again, we're talking about bearish divergences all day, or bullish confirmations, right? So this is ugly here. This looks like a rug pull waiting to happen. So good looking candle today, closed near the highs, up 5%. My goodness. But this is ugly here. You got a 64 RSI, and this name has been known to be bought from time to time, weeks even, or months, with just taking a little bit of a break. Absolute superstar. This is going to have a bullish, I would say, let me look at my calendar here, bullish accumulation. I have another 8 days or so for a bullishness on this to about a 153 target. So I don't know what your target is, Tony, but here's the thing. I think FOMO will help this one go higher, but don't be shocked. This thing can easily pierce to 138, and I'm kind of foreseeing it soon. This has not had ridiculous great flows in terms of how it closes outside of today at closing bell. Still an amazing stock, though. This thing's been really more bid than offered since early April, right off the U.S. lows. Talking about Bitcoin, and they picked that one and said, yep, we're not going to give this one a chance. No one gave the Palantir a chance under 75. They immediately said, no, this thing's going higher. And you were rewarded if you did that, because guess what? You're 2x from there to here in 3 months. Wow. And just there's also a coil in here of the moving averages at 139, your 21-day exponential. And this typically, this almost never fails me, the bearish confirmation. Question. Oh, I'm staying long and strong. It's too strong for any pullback. Tony, don't get cocky. I don't know how you say that in Italian, but I'm telling you, all-time high is a great-looking candle. Green skies ahead, right? Or blue skies ahead, but trees don't grow to the sky, and I'm just seeing a little bit of a bearish confirmation here. The flows are not superb, and also look at the volume starting to trail off a little bit, which is typical of newer highs. You guys got some momentum mix going higher. Mixed messages, I know, but this to me is gospel. When I see this, the bearish divergence is not even over 70, it's 64. You can, and Palantir still moves. I'm just telling you, don't be shocked. This can have a down $10 move. I'll give back up today and then some very, very quickly, especially if what I'm saying is possible for the digestion in the overall market. So if you have a position, maybe you want to hedge it. Don't know. Short term, just saying. But overall, I do think it's still headed to 153. That's probably one of the absolutely the best stock in the market. Thanks for playing. It's breaking 150 tomorrow. Then no resistance. I love your confidence. I absolutely hope it does. I think it probably goes to 153, and then it still very likely goes to 140. This is ugly right here. This bearish divergence is ugly, and it can still go higher. Last thing on this, before I leave the guitar, it barely got overbought here, though it still got overbought, and it still continued its trek higher. So this thing's an absolute beast. I understand why you're so bullish and front-headed here, but this to me, I've rarely seen this. I think it's a super microcomputer, IWM. It doesn't matter, even fractally when you look at it. This thing, I'm telling you, has a very, very, very good chance by the end of the week going to 139. Could hit 153 first and then go back lower. I'm just saying, we've seen it, and as too. Good luck with the trading. I hope I'm wrong for your sake, just what the charts are telling me. I will see y'all on Wednesday. There's a lot of stuff out this week. Earnings begin with JP Morgan. PPI, CPI, all that good stuff. We will see you Wednesday. If you like what I'm saying and you can use it, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Toodaloo.